Esoteric Meme Breakdown, Episode 91, NGL, I Miss This Era, Farm Bill. Divided we fall. Yes, so do I, the era of politically ambiguous memes with minions in them for some odd reason. Assuming this is a right-leaning meme, and assuming these are soldiers trying to defeat the evil Farm Bill, but it keeps rising from the dead, we can infer a couple truly wild things from a seemingly innocuous, bipartisan bill that some say is the reason Americans are fat, is the cause of economic and political destabilization leading to wars throughout the world, and also why poor Americans don't starve to death. But first, a quick refresher. The Farm Bill is perhaps the most consequential piece of legislation most people never hear anything about. With a usual cost in the hundreds of billions of dollars, it really is huge and it really is complicated. A good rule of thumb is advocating against the Farm Bill as a politician is actually worse than tying cinder blocks to your feet and jumping in a Burger King ball pit never to be seen again. The basic, uninteresting conservative take against the Farm Bill is that it provides funding for SNAP benefits, formerly called food stamps, and some people don't like it when their tax dollars go to help feed the less fortunate. The completely off the political spectrum, somewhere between woke and red pill to take, is that this bill, again, is why Americans are fat and why wars happen. The Farm Bill traditionally subsidizes commodity crops such as corn, soy, wheat, and cotton. Much of that goes to feeding livestock. This decreases the cost of meat, which is otherwise expensive and inefficient to produce, as well as unhealthy processed foods. This is great for fast food restaurants, but not great for people trying to eat healthy. Eliminating all commodity programs would, 1, totally destroy many farmers' lives who have extremely large capital investments in specialty machinery revolving around corn and soy, which would cause a whole other set of problems, and 2, force the farmers that do survive to grow higher value crops such as leafy greens, tomatoes, and whatever else stuff I don't like to eat. Some argue this elimination would cause the price of healthy stuff to fall dramatically as more farms start growing human-oriented produce, making healthy fruits and vegetables much more attainable for the average person. This would also increase biodiversity. The price of meat would substantially increase. In that, many farms would be SOL unless CRP, the Conservation Reserve Program, the program that allows farmers to get some money for their non-farmed farmland used for conservation, was also revamped. And finally, some believe that because the US artificially lowers the price of commodity crops such as corn, soy, and cotton, this destabilizes agriculture in developing countries when, hypothetically, companies like Cargill buy American corn and dump it into a country that they can still make money, but local farmers within that country can't compete with Cargill's low prices, creating a system where they then control the entire ag market. This can cause the country's ag system to completely fall apart, and from that follows political destabilization, leading to armed conflict. There's way more to say on this. Keep an open mind, indulge your curiosity, and let me know what your favorite section of the Farm Bill is, or which part should be changed. Esoteric Meme Breakdown, Episode 92, Intro to Teletubbies as Queer Media, Volume 1, History, Characters, Related Media. This is a cover from a booklet or zine laying the groundwork for interpreting the original run of Teletubbies, 1997 to 2001, through a queer lens. And right away, I know you're thinking one of two things. Either, oh come on, it's a kid's show, stop projecting onto it, or Tinky Winky's gay as hell. But here's where it gets interesting. According to author Live, Laugh, Love, Lobotomy, even though Tinky Winky carries a magic purse and has a triangle antenna, the latter sparking theories relating to the marking of queer people in concentration camps during the Holocaust with the pink triangle symbol, this is, quote, a bit far-fetched. The author goes on to say, if they were being that upfront about his sexuality, then they should have just named him Twinky Winky. LOL. Indeed, the real argument the author makes is a bit more nuanced, and, I should add, will be explained in greater depth in future volumes. Anyway, and stay with me here, this will tie together. First-generation Brit Pui Fan Lee played Poe in the original series and incorporated elements of her heritage in the show, speaking Cantonese on many different occasions in episodes. Dipsy, perhaps the most commercial of all characters, with many Dipsy-inspired licensed products, was played by actor and comedian John Simmet. Live, Laugh, Love, Lobotomy states, you can see the influence of Dipsy's actor in his character design. John Simmet is the only black Teletubby from the original run. Aside from the other Tubbies, there's also a vacuum cleaner named Nunu that no matter how messy the Teletubbies are, he still loves them. This information leads us to the queer interpretation Live, Laugh, Love, Lobotomy proposes and why it may strike chords with some in the queer community. The Teletubbies can be seen as a found family. Essentially, they are not related, they are not romantically involved, but rather live together together as if they were family. Found families can be very important for people who have been ostracized by their birth families, providing support and love to people who have been told by their biological family that they don't matter because they're too different and messed up compared to the quote-unquote normal people. A newfound family can make all the difference in the world to someone. The Teletubbies are from different backgrounds. They're quirky, they live with a vacuum cleaner, but they still love each other. To once again quote Live, Laugh, Love, Lobotomy, the dynamic of the Teletubbies has always reminded me of the strong bonds I have with my friends, having fun and playing, surrounded by nature, caring and being cared for by people I love, and all of us freely embracing who we are. The Teletubbies all have such distinct personalities, and many of them would not be considered socially normative were they to be real people. Unfortunately, it took the Teletubbies franchise over 20 years to realize they accidentally made a Pride TV show, but now they embrace it, or at least capitalize on it. Keep an open mind, indulge your curiosity, and let me know which Teletubby is your favorite. Esoteric Meme Breakdown episode 93, The British Raj is going the wrong way. There was/is a time when Britain felt the need to be in everybody's business. This caused the Brits to royally ruffle trousers all over the world. One of these places was the Indian subcontinent. This label is in Sanskrit and reads the rule of the British or the British Raj, which was the name of the British government that ruled the Indian subcontinent from 1858 to 1947. The British Raj is exiting the interstate, turning onto Pizza That Fell on the Floor Street. This image is from a post where the user refers to dropping the pizza on the floor, even though street or ground or grate would perhaps be more accurate. The elite Brits, not known for making moral decision, refused to keep going on the road of Plato's tripartite soul on the way to Bear of Bear in the Big Blue House. Indeed, instead of continuing down the road to dikaiosine, that is, justice, or when each part of the soul is fulfilling its purpose, the Raj drifts away from Bear. It's rather poignant, actually, as Bear is the kind-hearted caregiver to his friends within the Big Blue House. Indeed, they chose heartbreak and violence instead of love and warmth from Bear. But was the Big Blue House really all roses, lest we forget the leaked footage of Oho and Tutter spouting offensive and sexist language, much to the dismay of Bear. You know what? Maybe it's actually better that the British never colonized the Big Blue House. Bear had enough to worry about already. Can you imagine Bear being forced to serve beans on toast to his friends? It makes my heart sick. And that's the worst thing the Brits ever did. Beans on toast and nothing else. The end. Also, big news, I recently launched a membership program, kind of like Patreon mixed with Substack. Consider supporting me if you'd like these videos to continue and for occasional behind-the-scenes content and a sick monthly newsletter. Keep an open mind, indulge your curiosity, and let me know if you think my conspiracy theory, Tutter is Pizza Rat, will catch on. Esoteric Meme Breakdown episode 94, I bring a sort of let's have an Amoebaean song rap battle vibe to the workplace that bucolic shepherds don't really like. Indeed, if you were a shepherd in ancient Greece just trying to herd your flock while enjoying the gentle sounds of nature and the baas of your sheep, you would begin to loathe this dude's vibe. Amoebaean singing, much like a contemporary rap battle, was a singing competition we think was started by Greek shepherds. According to author James B. Pierce, one singer would start singing about a topic, something like, "My sheep are fertile," or "I am in the favor of Apollo," and then a second singer would give, quote, "an opposing view," produce a song on a similar theme, or simply add information. Again, not unlike riffing during a rap battle or being in a pun-off contest. Like everything, it seemed to have started out for fun, but then evolved into a formalized competition complete with judges and multiple rounds, requiring quick wit and, quote, respective admiration for wild plants and or their fruits. In an example, Comatas and Lacone go at it for 14 exchanges, all based around the first little ditty, using its themes and structure. There could also be a refrain each turn, tying the topics together. This is what you'd call a hook in a rap battle. See Theocritus and oral tradition for more. Whether battle rap is a direct descendant of Amoebaean songs, we may never know. It's likely, well, a fact of life that people just make literally anything into a competition. But shout out to DJ Kool Herc for inventing hip-hop, and shout out to MC Kool Mo D for defeating Busy Bee Starsky in what is known as the first rap battle as we know it. Keep an open mind, indulge your curiosity, and let me know your favorite rap battle moment without mentioning Eminem.
Esoteric Meme Breakdown, Episode 95. My Ears is a machine that turns your one of Diddy Kong Racing OST's top fans worldwide into Helsing HX-2-AI Drone Factory. As of June 2025, Spotify Executive Chairman Daniel Ek has invested over $800 million United States dollars in Helsing, a company that develops AI military technology, of which he is also the chairman. This is one of their products, an AI-powered strike drone designed to, well, you know what it's designed for. But whoa, wait a minute, Will, you're saying. Shouldn't my subscription money / their ad revenue be going to my favorite indie artists like Swamp Trash, Moist, and Steely Dan? Wait, it's going to War Pigs? This can't be right. Well, don't believe me? Let's talk numbers. No artist on Spotify gets paid until one of their songs accrues more than 1,000 streams in a 12-month period. Once breaking that threshold, artists are given fractions of a penny per stream. In the 7 years that my music has been hosted on Spotify, I have received less than $50 in royalties. And yet, I've received thousands of dollars in royalty payments from my music being played on traditional and satellite radio stations. Go figure. In fact, to independent artists like myself, accessing our music via Spotify is practically worse than pirating it. Let's say I somehow pirate an MP3 copy of my brother Peter's 2025 album, Feelings of the Bygone Sublime, Illuminate My Night. The end result? I get to enjoy the album, but Peter doesn't get paid. Not great for Peter. Now, let's say I pay $12 a month for a Spotify subscription, which I then use to listen to Peter's album. The end result? Peter still doesn't get paid because this album hasn't gotten more than 1,000 streams in the past 12 months. He doesn't get a penny of my $12. Yikes. So where'd my $12 go? Simple. Into the pockets of corporate-owned major labels and literal evil billionaires like Daniel Ek. For more on Spotify's opaque deals with major labels, see Liz Pelly's 2025 book, Mood Machine. And don't forget Spotify's own AI-generated music that they push. They need the royalties from that too. If you use Spotify, you are enabling a system that allows billionaires to exploit artists in order to facilitate an AI-assisted war machine. Your monthly $12 is not going into the pockets of your favorite independent artists. It's going into the hands of Daniel Ek and AI military tech companies. I'm a children's musician. A future in which war is enabled and carried out by AI technology is not the future that our children deserve. I refuse to be part of a system that enables or supports such a dystopian future. Now, there ain't no panacea. I'm a fan of Bandcamp, though it's gotten crummier in recent years and may not get better. There are other streaming services like Tidal and Napster, but I don't necessarily look at those as permanent solutions. And again, I highly recommend that anyone remotely interested in music read Mood Machine. Check your local library. If there are any other organizations, artists, or authors I should be keeping an eye on, please let me know in the comments. And of course, keep an open mind, indulge your curiosity, and let me know if I should take over for Peter more often.
Esoteric Meme Breakdown, Episode 96. Never ask a woman her age, a man his salary. Intel, 4,195,835 divided by 3,145,727. Why? Because specific Intel Pentium processors in 1994 got it wrong due to a hardware bug. Isn't that the one thing computers are supposed to do? Math? So, besides costing Intel $475 million 1990s dollars, what were the ramifications and how did it work or not work? The bug was due to a manufacturing error within the chip's programmable logic array, or PLA. Some of its array cells contained zeros where there should have been twos. There's evidence Intel figured this out internally at some point, but a person by the name of Thomas R. Nicely also let Intel know about it, as he had discovered the issue when doing prime number stuff. As a side note, I once wrote a short story about a person who studied cicadas because the researcher thought they were the secret to unlocking large prime numbers, as some periodical cicadas emerge only every 13 or 17 years. Anyway, the bug caused some answers to specific math problems that had a bunch of trailing digits to be wrong. But who uses their computer as a literal calculator? How did this affect gamers? The answer is that the person developing Quake was driven to wit's end about a glitch in his game that caused a single frame to be totally a different part of the map every so often. He called his friend at Intel to look over the code, and the Intel guy was like, "Oh yeah, known issue, work around it, get good," or something like that. Also, Intel being Intel, they didn't want to replace tons and tons of CPUs and said that they would only replace people's CPUs if they could prove it affected them. They later backtracked that after, rightfully, backlash. And thankfully, since then, Intel has consistently released competitive, high-value products and certainly, definitely did not peak in the Pentium era, this glitch aside. Proof of their current success? They just had to force out and sue now former CEO Pat Gelsinger, who now upgraded to a job working at a Christian AI tech startup making AI products for churches that he refers to as a faith ecosystem. But in all seriousness, we already did this with Temple OS. There's only one faith ecosystem, and it was made by the tragically very troubled man Terry A. Davis. Once again, Intel, you are 20 years behind. Keep an open mind, indulge your curiosity, and let me know if you'd sign my petition to reinstate Pat Gelsinger as Intel CEO. Esoteric Meme Breakdown, episode 97, Goon Corner. While much has already been said about Goon Corner videos, their place within the maximalist canon and the importance of other niche corners has been less well documented. As a quick refresher, musical artist, content creator, and influencer Perktunes, aka Alex Perkinson, invented the Goon Corner as a way to increase engagement in his early videos. As time went by, the quote, historic, game-changing move grew into its own strong, tight-knit community where people now request corners of their own, such as the Femboy Corner, the F1 Corner, the Solar Panel Cleaning Corner, the Forklift Corner, and many, many more. Thus, it only made sense to then move to adding edge content such as the Miku Edge. Maximalism and the contemporary internet go hand in hand. The lust by social media companies for your attention to keep you hooked has created algorithms to show you content to do just that. It rewards novelty, shock, outrage, etc. As such, extrapolating the principles set out by these algorithms naturally leads to Perktunes videos. These videos are the logical conclusion of short-form internet content. While there have been other artists to offer more overstimulating content, such as CDT Crew, these videos have themes solely of bombardment central to their plot, like endlessly flipping through TV channels, creating a sea of noise rather than videos explicitly designed to keep your attention as long as possible at any cost, appealing to every instinct you possess. BlackBerry is credited for implementing the widespread use of push notifications. These were created as a way for you to check your phone less, needing to only look at it for new information and not check every 5 minutes waiting for something to happen. However, as content algorithms destroy our agency in what we consume, the push notification has gone from empowering to inundating and often a pain to turn off and present in phone apps that have absolutely no need to send you notifications. In the Goon Corner story arc, however, agency, initially taken away, has been restored, with videos becoming interactive, where the viewer has a choice on how the video plays out. This is done in the form of gambling, however. But also the imagination edge. Like those reacting to minimalism in the 20th century, the Goon Corner reacts to the force-feeding of junk food content, pushing it to an extreme, which would be considered a hallmark of postmodernism, but it takes it further, becoming its own thing, adding an element of community, of agency, exposing people to new niches. This brings to mind the new sincerity movement found within metamodernism, reclaiming the algorithm, opening the gates, if you will. The Goon Corner is a product of its algorithm-controlled medium just as much as it is from the artist. However, Perktunes sees the next logical step as not VR pleasure centers or a landscape from Wall-E, but the cultivation of a community genuinely interested in being democratically exposed to new niche corners and still racks. Esoteric Meme Breakdown, episode 98. You either die a dirty deke gino celly hero or live long enough to see yourself become the dirty dirtbag. Wendy Anderson was a 1956 Olympic silver medalist on the United States hockey team. His quote-unquote celly was indeed so captivating he ended up being elected governor in his home state in 1970. Wendy is largely credited with a 1971 program initially dubbed the Minnesota Miracle, later renamed LGA. LGA raised state tax in an attempt to lower local property taxes and eliminate disparities between local communities. This is quite literally a socialist program Wendy stole from the Nordic countries during a trip he took there in the 60s and is still implemented today. Some in the richer areas of the state help finance road and other infrastructure projects, property tax subsidies, and general city budgets in less wealthy places like Albert Lee, Ely, or Babbitt. The latter, a town of around 1,500 people, set to receive over $500,000 in 2026 out of over $600 million to be distributed throughout the state that year. Anderson was a DFL member who miraculously got the LGA bill passed in a 157-day special session in 1971. Before signing it into law, he crisscrossed the state, speaking in favor of the plan as much as he could. The legislature had conservatives in control of both the State House and Senate, but the bill was championed by the nonpartisan Citizens League and the DFL. Anyway, both conservatives and liberals voted in favor of LGA, and it continues to this day. Wendy even carried every single county in his gubernatorial re-election. That really is a miracle. In 1973, he was on the cover of Time magazine with his plaid shirt and $1 million smile, holding a Northern Pike, which someone else definitely probably caught. He was riding high, taking full credit for the Minnesota miracle, both from his legislation, rightly earned, but also just good economic timing. But in 1976, Minnesota Senator Walter Mondale was asked to be Jimmy Carter's running mate, and Wendy, apparently advised by AFL-CIO union locals, resigned as governor so that the lieutenant governor, Rudy Perpich, would become governor and could appoint Wendy to the U.S. Senate in Mondale's place. He served 2 years in the Senate and then lost his seat in the election known as the Minnesota Massacre. Whoopsie! His DFL friends also got crushed. People must have thought that all that self-dealing looked like self-dealing. Other governors had tried the same trick in the previous 45 years, and each of them had lost the election. I can't believe it didn't work for Wendy. At the end of the day, Wendy took some risks and helped facilitate LGA, one arguably great decision that has benefited hundreds of thousands of people, and it continues to do so. However, risk is part of everyone's daily life. It's worth noting that the legislators worked together to solve a problem, assuming the risk of being bipartisan collaborators. Are we able to work together now, or would it take a miracle, or rather a person, someone like you, to work for the common good? Esoteric Meme Breakdown episode 99. Shout out to Alexei Starobinsky for inventing inflation. Just like how Sir Isaac Newton invented the laws of attraction, physicist Alexei Starobinsky indeed invented inflation. Both kinds. It was he who, in 1994, organized the first inflation email list under the pseudonym Inflate123. Okay, he did not invent inflation, but Inflate123 was the first person to do so, first finding a person on Usenet talking about an inflatable corset, and then later making a 12-person email list that quickly inflated to over 200 people in less than a year. There are people that use aquarium pumps to inflate their bodies. Mostly dudes, Inflate123 says, but it's safer to not do that. Anyway, there's a great interview with Mr. Inflate123 you can read in Forum, Volume 42, Issue 11, if you want to read a fascinating history of that type of inflation. Starobinsky obviously studied cosmic inflation, and obviously you can't invent properties of the universe, but he did propose some very important concepts like how and why cosmological inflation worked. His theory also implied the existence of gravitational waves, which are a hot thing right now. As well, he also implied that black holes emitted some sort of stuff. Stephen Hawking went freaking grind mode after meeting with Starobinsky and his graduate advisor, Yakov Zerdovich, and made it his mission to find the stuff black holes emit, later named Hawking radiation, in honor of Hawking stealing someone else's idea. I'm joking. The thing is, in physics, and really any field, researchers build upon information people before them painstakingly collected. If it wasn't for Einstein's theory of general relativity and then some other people, Starobinsky wouldn't have gotten as far as he did. Hawking also put in a lot of work too. Also, generally, it's not the person who does the research that names it after themselves, although that has happened. Where was I? Oh yes, the CMB. I don't know if the CMB is more or less esoteric than inflation, but I really hope it's less esoteric and doesn't need to be broken down. The one-sentence summary is that it's the background noise of the universe, the latent energy from its creation, and we don't know what lies beyond it. It's like the mysterious stuff they always talk about so dramatically in the Matrix being everywhere. And it was discovered by accident using a supercooled antenna at negative 269 degrees Celsius pointed at some balloons. You can't make this stuff up, folks. As a side note to the side note's side note, there have been a lot of comments asking to see Fill Up Your Mind drunk pregnant. If that does happen, it'll only be for Esoteric Meme Breakdown members on my membership page. Consider supporting me if you like this content, or perhaps get a shirt. Keep an open mind, indulge your curiosity, and let me know who you want to see inflated. This is member-supported Esoteric Meme Breakdown, episode 100, 15 signs you're a fader male. Super rare. And is it better than independence and satellites? This meme, parodying clickbait manosphere YouTube videos about Sigma and Alpha men, is about a type of shorebird that has its own, archetypes, or rather, pheno and genotypes. There are 3 different types of male ruffs: the independent, the satellite, and the fader. The independent is like the stereotypical male bird. It's flashy, it wears an ascot, it's aggressive around other males during mating. The satellite is the crony to the independent. Think of it as a lackey, hanging around the independents, clout chasing. The independents tolerate the satellites. They don't pose a large threat. The faders, on the other hand, look like and hang out with the female birds in the lek during mating season. Instead of displaying and fighting each other like the independents do, the faders simply chill and quickly mate with a female when opportunity arises. This can be by surprise, right after a female signals to an independent that she wants to mate, but before the independent can. Leonardo Campagna notes this also happens in fish. But how do these faders end up this way, spending too much time on the internet? Nope, it's a super gene made up of many other genes that gets passed on to them. The male birds have no say in how they end up, with roughly 95% of them ending up as independents. In fact, if the bird inherits 2 versions of the super gene instead of 1, it can't even survive into adulthood, being killed by its own garbled DNA. Most human people think this is a reproductive strategy that works because it's uncommon, and evidence shows that the more common it is, the less it works. So, if it works, it works. It's rare and cool, and faders have larger junk than independents do too. Very impressive. Also, a crazy fun fact found on Wikipedia about these guys is that Archbishop Neville served around 2,400 of these birds during his enthronement banquet in 1465. Also included were around 4,000 ducks, 204 bitterns, 500 partridges, 400 woodcocks, 104 peacocks, and a bunch of other disgusting stuff English people ate. There even was an orchestral composition named after his feast. Man, how the heck are species of animals still alive after what humans do to them? Anyway, keep an open mind, indulge your curiosity, and let me know what type of male ruff you are.